I was a bit hard on this show the first time around, but upon rewatch, I found myself enjoying it a lot more. It's definitely one of the better MCU Disney Plus installments, in my opinion. That being said, it still contains a handful of issues that hinder it from being great. Like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if you're new, check out the rest of the channel and let me know what you think. Let's dive into Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This show is fun, and I think a large part of that is due to Bucky and Sam's dynamic. I love these two on screen together. They bounce off each other so well. Their banter is entertaining. Their common journeys with Steve and their struggles after he's gone is a great centerpiece for these two characters to bond over. And it's a testament as well to Stan and Mackie's relationship and their chemistry that they exude on screen together. I also think both characters' individual journeys are also very compelling. Bucky is a man out of time, a lot like Steve. He spent the majority of his life forced to carry out assassinations and espionage against his will. And when he's finally pulled out of that life, he just has to continue to go to war. So he finally gets this little break, but doesn't know what to do with his life or how to overcome his trauma. He cuts himself off from everyone, including Sam. He's very much a lost soul. And Sam, on the other hand, has a path laid out in front of him, but he's reluctant to take it. He continues to work freelance for the US government, going after high-value targets under his Falcon moniker, even though Cap has passed the shield on to him. He doesn't want to accept the role as Cap because he doesn't know if A, he deserves it, or could live up to the legend that Steve created, and B, because he doesn't know if the world is ready to accept a black Captain America. Both of these stories are inherently interesting and intersect in a sensible and cohesive way. Even though I don't agree with Sam getting the shield, the way they outline his dilemma around taking on the role is written fairly well. And listen, if you haven't seen my Cap 4 review, my problem with Sam taking on this mantle has nothing to do with Mackie or how the character's written or even his race. It has everything strictly to do with me not wanting another Cap, period. I don't want Bucky to be Cap either. I think the shield should have been hung up for good once Steve was done. I'm just not a fan of passing on titles. I as a comic reader growing up, I wasn't a fan of it in the comics either. I just want new characters, new ideas, fresh takes, etc. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I really like the additional cast. I think Wyatt Russell as John Walker / US agent is an inspired choice. You hate him, but he fits the bill. He's cocky, obnoxious, turbulent. He's the exact person you don't want to take up the shield and the suit. And Russell knocks this attitude out of the park. I enjoy when he finally comes to blow with Sam and Bucky. I mean, that shot of the blood on the shield after he commits that heinous murder is insane. I loved bringing Zemo back, even though he doesn't get much to do. Daniel Bruhl does the most with what he's given. He's a lot of fun to watch, and in my opinion, should have been the main antagonist because he sort of gets sidelined, especially towards the later half of the season. Sharon is back as the power broker, which is kind of wild. Again, she doesn't get a lot to do either. She's fine. Adding Isaiah Bradley to the mix was a welcome surprise. His story and how it connects with Sam and Bucky and even Steve is heartbreaking, but inspiring in the end. It highlighted a gruesome but important moment in our country's history that people need to recognize. And then our villain, Erin Kellerman as Carly. Look, Kellerman's good in this role. The character itself is fine. She, for the most part, is a compelling villain, but I think she is woefully mishandled. I'll get to that more in a second. The action in this show is actually pretty fantastic. I think it's some of my favorite action in the Disney Plus original pantheon. I mean, that opening Falcon Canyon fight is electric, truck fight with the Flag Smashers is so much fun, and Bucky and Sam's confrontation with Walker is brutal. Along with that, I think the team behind this series found a lot of unique and interesting ways to use Bucky's arm and Sam's wings in these action set pieces. Something I didn't appreciate enough during my first viewing was the cinematography. I honestly think this show has the best cinematography of the Disney Plus Marvel series. There are so many gorgeous shots, and all 6 episodes look just so incredibly cinematic. One of my biggest issues with these shows is that sometimes they look too much like network television sitcoms. This one does not. It looks great pretty much throughout all 6 episodes. Now, let's get to Carly. She has the bones of a really compelling villain. Her goal, her strife, her struggle, it's all relatable and understandable. The way the writers build this global issue into the blip and its aftermath, I thought, was super creative and pretty inventive. Allowing her to be enhanced by the super soldier serum makes her a formidable opponent as well. My issue with her character is her arc. The writers want her to be this sympathetic villain. What makes good villains is you're able to look at their goals, what they're striving to achieve, and you're able to relate to it and step aside and say, yeah, I don't agree with what they're doing, but I understand why they're doing it. The writers, they don't really follow through with this all the way. As I said, looking at the bones of this character, it's there, but they make her cross the line way too early in the series. Sam has a line in the final episode to the politicians during his over-the-top, extremely heavy-handed speech where he says, they're only terrorists because you've chosen to call them that. But they are terrorists because they're murdering people at this point. People that are just doing their jobs. In my opinion, Carly commits to her violent nature way too early on. The writers should have left this on the back burner until the last couple episodes, maybe even until the finale. It causes the audience to turn on her character way too early, and what this does is makes her pleas to the world after this moment just come off as hollow. And Sam's continuing defense of her actions fall flat, and honestly, they just come off as confusing as to why he's trying to help her so much. Had they saved this turn of her character until the second to last, or even the last episode, arc would have been more of a tragedy. The way it is now, she really just comes off as an uncompromising, self-serving lunatic. My second issue with this series is that it just feels way too rushed towards the end of the season. There are too many players, too many storylines, and only 6 episodes to wrap it all up. We probably could have cut Sharon's thread out. It really wouldn't have changed much. If they really wanted Carly and the Flag Smashers as the main threat of the series, then just cut Zemo out. It wouldn't change the story that dramatically. But because of everything that they jammed into this show, the finale just feels so cramped. Bucky and Sam have to stop Carly. They need to bring back and kill off Batroc for whatever reason. We have to reveal Sharon as the power broker. We need to close out the GRC thread, get retribution for Isaiah, redeem Walker's character, which feels weird considering it's been like 1 episode since he kind of lost his mind. And all of that has to be done in 1 hour. This show as a whole just doesn't get a lot of time to breathe, and ultimately it just feels way overstuffed, and at the end, way undercooked. Even though I don't love the direction in which they take the Cap mantle, the show is still fun, and it's honestly more enjoyable than I remember. The narrative is a little overinflated and a bit bumpy, causing the finale to feel underwhelming, but the action, visuals, and of course the Bucky and Sam duo do enough to elevate this series beyond being mediocre. Wherever Bucky and Sam go next, please, Marvel, take them there together. The world needs more Bucky and Sam action.